Hello guys, welcome back to my show. Welcome back to Cape Flat Stories. And today we have the young, the beautiful, the wonderful, the majestic Lucinda Evans. But before that, let's talk about what has Cape Town, never mind Cape Town actually, South Africa in an uproar. Please forgive me if I mispronounce this, but have you guys seen the hashtag? Hashtag justice for Tsetse. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly and I probably did. But if you haven't, please go inform yourself and check it out. This is a little girl's life. She's only 7 years old. And what is our government doing about this injustice? But before we get into that, I have a few questions for our guest. Would our guest like to introduce herself?
Hey everybody, my name is Lucinda Evans and I'm a girl from the Cape Flats, number one. I live on the Cape Flats, born in District 6, live in Lavendale. And I'm the founder director of Philisa, Abafazi, Bethu Women's Center in Steenberg. I'm a Khoisan woman and I'm excellent at what I do.
That's amazing. So I have well, not a few questions, but one main question. Before we get into the question, would you like to explain what the patriarchy is?
Oh, patriarchy.
Yes.
Patriarchy, it is a way of life that has been coming along from ages and ages and ages, misinterpreted through the big book. And we know when we speak about the big book, the big books, and how it says that ultimately men are in charge. Dot, dot, dot.
Mm-hmm.
And patriarchy, how we use it in the sense of what I do, is that we need to dismantle patriarchy. Because of patriarchy, people were marching for Twetwe today. And they were marching for many other children, Jessie Hess. And they were marching for Uyuneni. They were marching for Rene Roman. And we're still marching because of patriarchy. 2019, we marched at an event called Am I Next? And Twetwe was next. But because of the patriarchic fascist system that we have, up until now, there is no justice as of yet for Twetwe. Because our president lied to us on 5th September 2019 when he said, and I quote, because I was standing next to the president, he said, if you rape, there's no bail. If you kill a woman or a child, there's no bail. And yet we find that this little girl, 7 years old, from Matatiyal in the Eastern Cape, could have been a girl from Manenberg or Mitchell's Plain or Kenwyn or Mitchell's Plain, was raped in October. And a case was opened and nothing happened. So when you ask me, what is patriarchy? I would say it comes at the cost of children and women and men and young boys' bodies. It is the genocide on all of our bodily autonomy. I trust I can use the word vagina on the show because this is ultimately sometimes what we need to speak about. And we need to be truthful in. We are not just marching because of Twetwe. Twetwe represents so many thousands of children here in South Africa whose cases has been thrown out because the court of the law says that they cannot chronologically say on Tuesday 5 p.m. when the sun was at its peak in the north or in the south, this man came and he hurt me. The child can only say he hurt me. And therefore there are thousands of children in our country that will never have justice, just like Twetwe. There are thousands of children who also cannot have justice because we have a system called the DNA. So it's bodily fluids. Somebody violates me, or the person that violated Twetwe has left bodily fluids in her. And when she was examined, the forensic specialist or the forensic doctor would have taken a swab. So she would have a sample of fluids. Now, any of those men in those school that have violated their child, if you take their sample and it matches, you would find the rapist. And so you will also find that within that school community, there are men that is refusing to give their samples. And so where are the justice? Symbolizes in one child of Matatiel today. And thank you very much for everybody once again taking us and letting us feel how we felt in 2019. But Kwekwe represents so many families and children who has never had justice.
That actually is so beautiful, I feel, and so informative, and it went into what I was going to discuss, how the patriarchy, a hierarchy, I guess you could say, impacts us today. It's something that started so long ago, but it impacts us till this day, till right now, till this second. And I thank you so much also for bringing it up and for explaining how it does still impact us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I get my seat there, please?
Oh,
Thank you so much, Lucinda. Thank you. Well done. Well done, young lady. Lucinda, thank you for giving her the opportunity to interview you.
of course.
I think the idea was also to show you that how much I appreciate ladies like yourself, that I'm raising one to be just like you guys, follow in your footsteps, so that we can have more Lucindas in the future. So thank you so much. Otherwise, how are you?
Pleasure. I'm good.
You good?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Busy?
Yeah, but I also want to say, Stan, that shows like yours and many others,
Yeah.
it gives an opportunity to speak about patriarchy. We have to. And it's the good men, the great men as yourselves and many others that first you stretch your hand out and say, you know what, we recognize what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, if we look at the fascist patriarch Trump that has put laws in place where women died of childbirth because their pregnancy was at a point where he has put laws into place that women cannot have an abortion. And so if the neighbor or the principal, let's take Kwetwe at age 15 and the principal raped her and she falls pregnant. And a patriarch, fascist like Trump, has put a law in place that you have to keep that baby. So it is shows like yours and many others that gives voice in saying there are good men and there are great men. But we still move in a fascist system that makes women and children and boy children as unsafe as what we are and young girls are, just like Twetwe.
Yeah. And the thing is this, like you've just mentioned now, we can't depend on the government anymore. Because our government has been failing us for the last 30 years, plus years. And the question is that, what do we really do? How do we help? I one day said, you know what? If the gangsters can buy guns illegally, why can't we buy guns illegally? Start a group of people and we go after these bastards. I'm sorry to say it like that, but I think we're going to have to get to a point where we're going to become extreme to show them, hey, but we had enough of this. This government isn't doing anything.
We, you know, as much as what I feel you stand, we need to look at the next generation's wonderful young woman that sat here and she presented. And this is not the life that we want for our children. You know, we this week at my organization, my after school facilitator Siobhan, she came to me and she said, I want to do a holiday program with a difference. Let's speak about bullying. And then she went further and she said, but can we engage the bully perpetrator and their parent? And we've put this invitation out. Bully is not something new. It is been there for a very long time. Grown adults are getting bullied. We were bullied as colored people all our lives. We think we are free now for 30 years. But as colored people on the Cape Flats, we are very much marginalized.
Yes.
And so our bullying program looks at why are young boys and young girls behaving in the way they behave. What happened to the parent that is angry and violent where the child has learned this behavior? No children are born a bully.
No.
I believe this. And as much as what I advocate for children, young children, I advocate also in terms of prevention.
Yeah.
And so when we say, don't we also need to take up arms? I want to place it here before your audience stands. So in 2023 in Lavendale, so I just want to, my disclaimer is I'm the most disliked woman in this Western Cape. But Jesus loves me and they like his extra.
Amen.
So I just want to put it there. So 2023 in October they were shooting in Lavendale. And one night I went to the community police for a meeting, and I kind of was disruptive, but not disruptive for the sake of disruptive. I said to them, why don't we meet with these men? And then the next day we were at the station, there were 40 people. But we were a delegation of 8 that actually sat down with these leaders, and I was there with the chairperson, because I said, come, let's put our money where our mouth is. And we met with these gentlemen who were fathers, who were leaders just like us.
Yes.
And we spoke to them. And we said, if anything happens, we're going to keep you accountable.
Yeah.
And for a good 9 months, the community was quiet. Why do we need to take up arms if we say we are leaders? We are leaders in this and this and that. Why can't the leaders come together and set these people down and ask them, wat gaan aan? As to taking up arms. But you see, our people has the mentality still that somebody else has to do it, not us.
True.
But gangsterism and violence is in our homes. It's a family thing.
That's correct.
You see, if the gay child in whichever religion comes out as gay, we're going to chuck that child out. But we're going to protect
The gangster child.
the gangster child. And there's where we need to start taking the responsibility as the community. Because that leader is a family member of this, this, and this. Can I not sit my family member down and say, but why? But the question also to ask Stan and to everybody else, why are these young men so angry? Where has it gone wrong for them in their childhood, in their lives, that they are bitterly angry, that they murder and they kill, and they put their heads down and they sleep as if nothing has happened, and children are killed and women, and nothing happens. So on the issue of government, should we not be our own government?
I think we should be our own government, and like you say, we are a people. If you look at our numbers, we are the majority in the Western Cape, but yet we are the most marginalized. But it also comes down, like you said, to our communities, to the homes. We don't speak about these things. We don't keep each other accountable. I know of my cousin that is a gangster, but when he does wrong, I praise him. I buy the stolen goods from him. It's a pattern that we've started over the years, and we are actually maintaining it. But it comes back to what you have been saying. We should keep ourselves first accountable.
Yes.
And we should make the change.
Yeah.
But how do we tell our people that you, as Mrs. or Auntie Tima or Auntie Magda, you are the ones that have to change your mindsets? How do we get that activated? Because we are a powerful nation.
We are, and you know, it's very interesting that you mentioned women's names. Mothers. Mothers are the core, but mothers are not to be blamed. A baby comes from two individuals.
I agree with you.
And many of these homes of these young people had a single mom who had to struggle, who came with maybe generational hereditary violence, and she can only do what she did with the little bit that she had there. A ma bly a ma. She protects her child to the bitter end.
Yes.
And then we ask the question, so where does the father come in and the responsibility? And I give you another example, Stan. I advocate for children a lot. I speak about the protection of children. Well, sadly, they didn't want me in that other position.
And we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
They didn't want me in that other position. But be it as it may, I'm not bitter about it. Now at the moment, the national social development, without the consultation of the people, because we allow these people to do these things, in the name of politics. They want to change the Children's Act. Do you know what a baby saver is?
Yes.
Yeah? So I have a baby saver at my organization. It is a box. Looks like an incubator. You open the door, alarm goes off, you put the baby in there, you close it. And the Department of Social Development National now wants to say that safe relinquishing of babies is illegal versus what there is across the country, baby dumping. We as a country, we go, wow,
Yes.
we go, but if we want to murder.
Yeah.
But yet, under our noses, the National Department of Social Development wants to change the Children's Act to say this is illegal. Coming from a country where our rape stats, remember when our that man with a hat back in the day, yeah, no, that man, I can't even mention his name, that man, who said, you know what, in August, month of August 20, I think it was 2022, 21, when these girls were at a photo shoot and the Zamazamas came and they raped majority of them, he made a statement and said, oh, she's lucky, only one raped her. Now you see, we have people in power, in politics, coming with that mentality. And then you have people in the Department of Social Development that wants to put a law in that says the safe relinquishing, because she's not abandoning the child. There's a difference. She is in a crisis. She's been raped. It's incest in the home. She came from school.
Yeah.
The principal maybe raped her. She's pregnant. She cannot look after herself or the baby. She puts the baby in the baby saver because she knows people like me take the baby to the hospital, get social development, and there will be a foster parent. And then you look for her. And then you reunite her with the baby, but you give her support.
Yeah.
So now, by virtue of saying these things are illegal, what is the options that government is giving? Giving the fact that we almost have the highest rape and domestic violence rate in the world, with the lowest conviction rate, with a backlog of DNA of I don't know how many thousands. And there are people whose daughters, whose children were killed 5 years ago, who's still waiting for justice because there's no DNA. So when I speak about domestic violence or gender-based violence, I place my baby saver first there as the frontline number one service. Because in actual fact, we're saving a baby's life and the mom by offering an opportunity. We never vilify the boyfriend, the husband, the oppa, the uncle, rapist in the family. No, we don't. We go and we look for her. We find her. We put her on TV. We say, you this and you that. And so the mere fact that we have the problems that we have in our country being perpetrated against women, because remember patriarchy? In the patriarchal system, the woman is always vilified. The woman is always blamed. The woman is always shamed. But where do we place the responsibility? At the perpetrator, the man, the person that abandoned her, that violated her, that impregnated her. What do we talk about when we speak about those things?
And we have a big issue. I have to confirm, or not confirm, but I have to agree with you. Men are not playing their parts. They're not taking their roles. And we can't blame our fathers for what they didn't do, for what they didn't teach us. I think we are living in a time where men should be responsible. You should find your way. You can't blame your grandfather for eating your grandmother and your father for eating your mom and you eating your wife. You blame it on everybody and making children and then just disappear. We are just creating more problems. That type of relationship, that is exactly also why we here, because you have a 13-year-old girl that is now looking after their child. She herself is a child. She didn't live life yet. And now you're giving her as a man. And some of these men, still till this age, still till this day, you see a man of 28 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, dating a schoolgirl of 16, 15 years old.
Yeah.
That's the big problem we have.
You know, I want to say two things then.
Mhm.
And as big of a gender activist that I am, I also want to advocate for men
Mm.
in saying, have we done enough? You know, sit ourselves down and say, okay, so men,
Mm.
we know that there's a patriarchy.
Mm.
Men is the head of the house. Men is the provider.
Yeah.
Men is the protector. But now there's men that is not able to live up to this.
Mm.
Have we as a society sat ourselves down and give that man grace? Grace in the sense that we see you not being able to live up to this patriarchal norm of the alpha male, the protector, the provider, etc. And make services available. So what we do for women in terms of skills development, we should equally do
For men.
because then we cannot call us gender activists. And there is a connection with hereditary violence, and we cannot walk away from it. How our forefathers for 300 years have been demanded from their manhood. Nothing to do with genitalia. Everything to do with the psychological.
Yeah.
That's why Wouter Barson was successful in bringing drugs into the Cape Flats.
Yes.
And that other one, which I forgot his name, was successful police officer that was selling guns and knew what colored men
Yeah.
would do to other colored men and to families. And they were mastermind. And when these colonizers came on the ships and they saw us, peace-loving people. We were peaceful people.
Yes.
We were not violent people.
In wet land.
We had land, we had water, we had all of it. That's why these people that want to go and live there. I mean, I made a joke the other day. I'm like, fire up the dromedaries. And they asked me, what the hell is it? I'm like, those take water there in Simonstown. They came with a boat, post them on the boat, leave them at the border. Because they came here with nothing. And they took everything. And what they fundamentally took was the humanity over years of a people.
Yeah.
But I believe also, Stan, that our collective humanity is going to save all of us.
I agree.
As men, as women, as leaders, as whatever. But what I find very difficult sometimes to swallow, because I'm always the one that goes the other way. I find it difficult to go in the same way. The other way is the accountability. We don't keep people accountable for not doing what they're supposed to do. And that is to look after communities and to look after the vulnerable and to look after children and older persons and men and boys. So what I'm saying, Stan, is that we need to seriously start focusing on how do we strengthen men who has the capacity, but the opportunity is not there for them to also become what they want to become. Men have dreams like us. They have wishes just like us. And they don't want to sometimes behave the way they behave. But what choices do they have?
And I think you said it very well. In a world where, especially a city where colored males are marginalized, where we don't find the jobs that we have studied for, we are not treated the way we are supposed to be treated, it becomes difficult for us to perform, to be that man, because you have that pressure of, you know, I'm working so hard, I've been working for this company for 30, 40 years or 20 or 10 years, but I've never progressed. Everybody after me progressed. It's all trauma that's building up. And when I get home, I must look after my family. The money that I earn is barely enough for me to look after them. And I think there's thousands of us feeling like that, you know. And I think the other thing is, Lucinda, and maybe this is a question maybe that you can help me on. I feel also that with gender-based violence, we have excluded the men that are currently struggling to survive, because some of them are also victims. Some men are also being, victimized by their women in their lives. Because remember, this is a role. Gender-based violence has nothing to do with gender, I would say. It has to do with behavior of people.
Yeah.
And I think that is where we actually need to also look, because when you talk about gender-based violence and when you ask people what is the mandate, many people will say gender-based violence is to protect women and children. But what about that uncle that was abused by his wife? Aren't we now saying, you know what, only look after women and children and make all men possible perpetrators?
No. The interpretation of the act is wrong. The act speaks of gender-based violence. It doesn't say the specific gender. But because of the high rates of violence against women and children, the emphasis is. So I opened a safe house in 2021 for men. Men that has a girlfriend or a wife that has abused them. And since we've opened in November, we've only had 3 clients. So can we ask the question why? We are still operational. We are still there to provide service for a cisgender male. Because when you say we have a safe house for men, then they say, oh, a gay male. I'm like, no. A man that is married or has a girlfriend that things have gone wrong, she's abusing him, he needs a place of safety, just like a woman, and we don't get the clients.
Yeah.
And so we have seriously looked at why. Do men report? Yes, they do. Who do they report to? The police, the court, all the services that's available for women. But why have they not reached our safe house? It's because it takes a lot for a man to go to the police station to say, I'm being abused. Because when they arrive, and thank you to the good police stations that have been doing the service, I mean, giving men the service, it is quite a few. And so there are stations where men go and they didn't get the service that they needed to get. That's why we have a safe house that's empty. And so what I'm saying is that we have to be more. This gender activist should, my narrative is women and my narrative is girls. Yes, it is. And it will always be. But I had to learn in the last 4 years also to interrogate myself when it comes to the word gender. I cannot call myself a gender activist and I only work with women and girls. Then I'm a feminist. I should say that within gender-based violence, I'm also able, even if I don't do the direct service, to be able to direct a male, cisgender male or a queer male, to the service that is needed. And so my contribution as a gender activist, I said, let me open a safe house for men in distress.
Nice.
Not a homeless shelter. There's lots of homeless shelters for men to go. But a shelter, emergency safe space for a male that have had a gender-based violence encounter, or was hijacked, or there was attempted rape as a result of something. And a space where you can come for 7 days, where people will take care of you equally to the service that we provide for women, and try to connect you to other services that would be able to assist you further.
Do you think it's because, like you say, men struggles to accept the fact that they need help, especially in times like this? We have this stigma: men needs to be strong, men can't cry. So if some of the other men sees that man in your institution, they'll say, hy's 'n pop, hy's 'n pabroek, or do you think we're still struggling with that because we don't want the people to label us?
No, but that's patriarchy, eh? That's patriarchy leveled up. It's your own that's putting you just a pop, just a D, just a die. Because in the patriarchy system, remember, males are being said you're the alpha. Okay? You lead. And it was interesting when I had a conversation earlier with your daughter. She was saying, and I forgot the word. She said, oh, back in the day, the guys were chasing the woman. We speak about when the people were still wearing wigs. And I said, oh, okay. And then women also had to have chastity belts with a lock. And everything was about that part of her body part, which was sacred. It was his. Even if she said no. But in that same patriarchal system, if you go outside and you cry in the street and somebody walks past, they're going to call you the M word.
Yes.
And so within the same patriarchal system, which men also don't understand or sometimes don't want to accept, that the perpetrators of male violence is male themselves. The system is cruel towards the male that's not able to live the level of patriarchy leveled up. It's nothing to do with us then. And you know what? In the beginning, it wasn't us either. It was a system that is out there saying a man, Mr. Cheerios, Donald Trump, who can one morning wake up and say, you know what? Those people there in the South African people, they don't need medicine anymore. We take the money back. And then you have people in our very country, women and men, that endorses what that man has done. So patriarchy, and we have women, I say we have patriarchs in skirts, because we have women that upholds that patriarchal system of alpha. And cultures differ from each other. And I'm knocking no cultures, but I want to emphasize, look where patriarchy has brought us. It has brought us with a lot of violence. Men's shame. Do you know how bad it is when a man feels shame? I am not able to A, B, C, and D. Where does men pack that shame? Like in a packet here?
Yes.
Like in a packet here?
Yes.
Like in a packet here.
Yes.
And so when we really need to look critically at why is our government not doing what they said they're going to do. We put them there. We uphold a patriarchal system. And together with that, there's racism as well.
Exactly.
Together with that, there's a fascism system. And it's a system that is cruel to men, but also cruel to women. We just feel it even more.
Lucinda, you're touching on a point now. I was at the convention last week. I was invited to this convention, and it was all about alcohol abuse and how it links to gender-based violence.
Yeah.
And something, the stats I'm gonna actually share it with the followers later in the week. The stats actually shows that the most drinkers in South Africa is first the colored male. The colored male.
Yeah.
And then it's the black male, and then it's the white male, and the Indians they don't drink a lot.
Okay.
But the colored male, and how this actually spikes, especially over weekends. We get paid, we have money, we can not gonna work tomorrow, so now we drink. What you spoke about now, all the trauma and all those things, we drink it out. And now some people become very violent, and that's why most of the ladies or the women, even men as well, will end up in hospital because of alcohol abuse. We don't know how to channel our frustrations, and we're not used to it, because in my home with my father, we didn't speak about what bothers us. We didn't go see a psychiatrist, and for that reason, the trauma came many years later and it manifested in me. So I had to find ways. However, with my son it's different, and like I said to you, we need to change that cycle. With my son and my daughter, let's go see a psychologist. Let's go get help. When do we start to recognize the problems? Because we are actually a target. Yes, colored males, they are the most in drinking alcohol, but for those alcoholic companies, it's not about us drinking, it's about them making money.
Of course. Look at what happened during COVID-19 with the alcohol ban.
Yes.
How creative did all of us, and I say all of us, colored, black, white people, we use pineapples, we use raisins, we use bread, we brewed our own alcohol. You couldn't find any yeast. Yeast was exorbitant, but then you also had a lot of alcohol poisoning. But what happened to gender-based violence? You were trapped with somebody that was now detoxing. There was no systems in place for that person that was detoxing from the alcohol. And so as a result of that, the person is irritated, the person becomes violent. But the alcohol industry is should be the number one perpetrator of gender-based violence. You know, their taxes should go to shelters like ours.
I agree.
They should be paying us for the damage that they're doing, and they should be giving the CSI money to programs like ours and opening rehabilitation centers. It doesn't matter like this logo. Lekker cup, this by the way. No? This is the branding. Yeah, at the bottom it says, but this is not your cup. It says, no, don't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
But when you came with your boats as refugees, we need to understand Jan van Riebeeck and these people that came to our country, they were refugees. They ran away from their own country. So don't call us refugees, by the
He
way,
was
in
a
our own
criminal.
country. Yeah.
He was a criminal.
How did he get the land? Introduce grapes. He knew how to make alcohol. So this is how they paid our people. This is how they traded. And if you speak to people that work in the substance misuse field, they will say genetic. Okay? How did our people do therapy back in the day? Before these people came with their ships, we had the nature, we had the sea, we were running when we chased the animals. We were hugging and falling against trees and connecting with Mother Earth. That was our therapy. And when these people came, enslaved our people, paid them with alcohol, this was generational. So then I left my organization tonight with a workshop. And I'm running a support group for LGBTQIA people. Dr. Josias is there, Janine Josias. And Dr. Janine Josias will tell you how busy the Tutuzela Center is over weekends of rape cases. The FCS unit of the South African Police Services will tell you how busy they are with abuse cases, rape cases over weekends. I can tell you how busy my emergency shelter is Friday, Saturday and Sunday because I work in the emergency space over weekends. So when we speak about the magnitude of alcohol, we have to ask who in government also benefits of the sales of alcohol. Why has government not really, and I speak of the government of national unity, even the ACDP, even all the religious political parties, why have they not tackled the alcohol industry? Because it's lucrative, it brings in money, you have the wine farms all over the place, and therefore we sit with the situation that we sit with.
Lucinda, you touch on a point now. So one of the things that I said, like they will make the cans and the bottles quite bigger, the alcoholic bottles. So when you open it, you can't close it again. Want jy gaan nou 'n bier toemaak. So you are forced to drink it. And also the hours where it operates. And that is where government should step in. You have to stop operating 6 o'clock and close. Because it's when you open till 10 o'clock on a weekend where problem starts.
So let's ask the question, how many inspectors is in the, and I forgot the name, but these people that are supposed to regulate the liquor license, there's no inspectors. How many inspectors for areas is there? Nothing. And you would find, I don't know if you remember, I think it was in 2023 when those 21 children were killed in the Shabin.
Yes, I remember.
And the tavern owner and the wife is now at court. But can we take it back to the regulator that gave them the liquor license in the first place? And then you ask the questions, how many check-ups were there at that place with the inspectors coming in? And it comes back to the perpetrator, the alcohol industry. The alcohol industry, which is managed not even by our own people.
No. It's foreigners.
And how many of the pure grapes are exported? And how is the conditions of people living on farms? There's an organization called Women on Farms. And they do amazing work, gender-based violence work and rights of women on farms. And if you get to a certain age, the farmer will wake up and say, okay, you pack up and you go. And that might be 4 or 5 generations of people that lived on that farm, worked on that farm, worked that person rich. But then you look at the conditions of how the person lives. And so I have a friend, and the farm is called Nirvanda. It's in the Dorings. And they were 5 black people. They were a co-op. And when they started questioning the government who was involved with a strategic partner called Bono. The first thing government they came and half of their land, they cut and I don't know what the English word is, but hulle het al die lote afgekap. And so they couldn't work. And then the farm workers were suffering because these 5 co-op that had the farm couldn't give money. And what then happened, there was an investigation, special assignment Hazel Friedman do it, only to find out that millions over the 5 years, these grapes were exported, nobody was paid, somebody in government was benefiting, and these grapes were sent to the Netherlands. And so we come back to what we speak about when you speak about the relationship with alcohol and domestic violence. But that alcohol is used as a pacifier for men's pain. And we also need to recognize interventions. Here in Athlone is a amazing rehabilitation space called Choice House. And a year ago, I had my brother there. So I speak about my own experience. It's not something that I dream of. And I had my brother there. And my young baby Putti, we couldn't stop drinking. And we took him to Rifaat's place. And when Rifaat worked, yes, the symptoms was alcohol abuse, but there were other things
that led to
it. And how his therapy with his boys helped my brother.
Wow.
So when I speak about gender-based violence, I speak about intervention. We need to look at men and men's pain. I believe in it because that's one of the big answers to what we need to do. I work with the symptoms, and the symptoms and the consequences is horrid. We have people in our safe house that nearly died, and young children that have been raped. I recently opened a safe house for children, and I work in that horrible space. But I'm also here brave enough tonight, through everything, to say we have to show men more grace.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that is what we want to hear as well.
Yeah.
Because we all are being labeled as possible perpetrators.
Yeah.
And it makes it difficult because, everybody... So now you also have that few ladies that are using, the gender-based violence to their advantage.
Yeah.
And we need to be very careful also because sometimes it's not gender-based violence, it's just bitterness. I mean, there's men sitting in prison tonight that were told that they raped the lady, and in many cases that wasn't the case. So we must look at this in all seriousness. If a relationship doesn't work out, it didn't work out, it's time for you to move on, but don't be bitter.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the things where men feel that, they are being overlooked. But enough from that. I want to just go to the other side quickly.
Okay.
You are Lucinda Evans. En ek het nou vir Evan gesê, mense hou nie van my nie.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Because you need to be strong for you, in the community, and your family, and the rest of South Africa.
It's taken a long time, Stan, to understand, and it wasn't lekker in the beginning. No, everybody wants to be like man. You want to be invited to parties and workshops and meetings. But if people come in and they say, "Oh, hier kos hy alweer," and then I have to remind people, "Kyk, you stick to the agenda, man. You lost my personality of." And then it's taken hard work to get to a point where the calling and the mandate is still the calling and the mandate. Yeah. Activism is not for everyone. It's a cruel space. It's a hard space. And it's a space where your faith should be solid. Now, you must know, Stan, as much as what I say vagina, I pray every morning. And I use words like, ek staan vandag bos teen bos meneere. Klaar wat het so is. Wat as jy nou 'n problem met die, then, delete, block and whatever. That's how I roll. I also have a t-shirt sometimes, and I wore this once in church because I came straight from hard work, and then I wore this in church. In die kerk, yeah.
Ek is hier om kak te maak.
Yeah.
Ek is hier om kak te maak.
Yeah.
You want to just show them quickly?
Yes.
Can they buy a t-shirt from you?
Of course they can. But there's a message at the back of the T-shirt.
And then the one
And
in
people
front
were
as
so focused on the front of the T-shirt. So yeah, I'm called many names. I'm called many names. But you know, when I started the project in the dining room of my home, 10 years I've been there.
well. Wow.
Hulle my gerol staan.
Hmm.
First our own people. They
Ons
rolled
eie
me.
mense.
They rolled me. And then it was the actual fact is still patriarchy for me. But that propelled me to do what I do in Philisa, Abafazi, Bethu. I even entered the community police forum space. What a training ground that space has been. From what it could be, fantastic space of intervention as your hartklop reg is. Nee? And I challenged my own CPF in 2021, and they called me a one-man band. They had me in the newspaper.
As I remember the article.
But since 2021, they could never constitute a proper meeting. No, you turn around and you look there. The devastation of that. Because I went for your character. As colored people, we're good at going for each other's character. But we forget the business of the day. The business of the day is the heart.
Yes.
Yeah, I brought the heart there. The business of the day is we still have to use our heart in doing what we do. You and I can differ. You can tell me, you know what? This is how I see it. And I respect you. But we shouldn't lose the humanity in what we do. We go for the person and forget what the issue is. And so within that center that I have in Steenberg, number one, I had to wait 10 years for that center. The center was in my home. And I believed in somebody that no one could see it. No one saw what I saw, what I felt. I had a little blocky on the wall every day. I walk past that wall every day. I'm like, thank you, Jesus, for my center. I think it's mal. And that center standing for 5 years. And what I want to continue to be an example to the community is also colored excellence. Number one.
Yes.
I'm dreaming of politics, number two. Nee?
Is that a space that you want to go into?
I'm dreaming it. Wait,
Okay.
let me still dream it. I'm not done in the center that I want to do. I still want to put up an ECD center, and I still want to put up a youth center there. But what I want to say to the audience tonight, we must stop focusing on breaking each other down.
Thank you.
Because the divide and rule is still there. It still gives the oppressors the opportunity to oppress us, and they don't even need to do a lot. Stand in his studio, is here. Stand, post something. I'm doing a fundraiser, I need a R5. More gaan het net so, because they look at Stan's car, they look at Stan's house, and forget the issue. The fundraiser is the fundraiser.
Yes. But that is so true. How do you deal with it? Because the thing is this. I've got a 9-to-5 job. I can look after myself.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody wrote last week, sy het nou 600,000 followers, nou dink sy's nou kwaai.
I saw that.
But I'm like, I didn't ask you for money. I just told people, I have an idea. If we all collaborate and we get more partners on board, we can, if each one give a 10 rand, we can do this. Yeah. And then it was kept against me. And then I said to myself, you know what? Bogger julle, gaat julle aan. I'm going on with my thing. Because you know, things like that, Lucinda, I mean with yourself, it sort of deters you. But also, you are so strong that you have to continue.
Never. In the beginning, yes, it knocked me. Like I know 3/4 of this country by driving. I hustled. I worked as a driver for a research company sustaining Philisa, Abafazi. So last year, I took my seniors to Mossel Bay.
I saw this.
And the cruise liner was standing there. We made a joke, and the senior said, ek wens. Toe sê ek, mama, wil jy redig op my boot gaan? Ek sê, but God, waarom is ek nou weer besig? In the same breath, ek sê this in the same breath. And it took us 13 months. Wow. And I took 74 seniors,
well done,
first time flying, on 'n plane from Cape Town to Durban. Kyk jy, ons het vir sy vir oor gevat.
Can we just give her a round of applause, guys? Just give her a round of applause.
It's team. It's team.
You and your team.
It's team. We worked hard. Ek wil nie nou weer fences was vir 'n lang tyd. But anyway, it's team. And then we got to Durban. Durban. It's the airport thing. No? And we had the same t-shirts. And I'm a person for the community. I demand just the best.
Yes.
And we got to Durban. We stayed in the hotel.
Wow.
We took over more than half of the hotel. And then we got on that MEC cruise. We were uniformed.
Wow.
We all had black suitcases.
Wow.
We had the rainbow t-shirts. They had their black pants on. Hulle het hulle swart hoodies gehad. And we walked there as people who are millionaires. 65-year-old and now older seniors, 89.
Nice.
You'll see there's a video with the auntie met the stop, so chick. Our oldest auntie. And that for me, Stan, was reclaiming our sovereignty as the people of the Cape Flats. The MEC cruise is like the whole, what's that place that people fly over, which had the earthquake again?
Is it 1 hour with a weekend?
Yeah. It's so vibe. Only the rich people can go there, or the fortunate people.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to prove a point. I wanted to show the seniors and to the world, because we're so unkind with senior citizens, some of us, that it can happen. And for that 3 days, they could eat what they want to, as much as they want to. They were in the restaurant, they were everywhere in the boat. And on deck 14. People that have been on the MEC, they know what happens at deck 14. Ek kan nie uitpraat nie. I've been sworn to secret. But you know, when we came back from that trip, an article was written. And the first comment that came back was, did you take your funders' money? Nothing about
what you did.
Ek sê, dis jou besigheid. If you want to know, come look at my audit report. But doing that for the seniors, imagine, we take a group of our youth and we get on a bus and we go to a nature place. We've got lots of places around here. That dignity, that sovereignty, that we've been so conditioned to hand out. Ons wag om het te maak gebeur. We need to extend our tables. We need to build our tables. We need to put hand to the plow. And so for me, in that center, the center has been built by grace and faith. Grace and faith and nothing else. Never mind what I write on my t-shirt or what I say. It's grace and faith.
Amen.
And the sustainability of that center is the energy proposition that comes from the seniors, the children, the men, the clients. I want to inspire every single colored person listening to this. We can turn the narrative of this Western Cape around in 2026 if we stop focusing on Stan the person and look at what Stan the man is doing, bringing messages across, asking the 10 rand for the fundraising, support local. I only support local. I'll disappoint hulle my 500 keer. I support local. Because if we don't support local and build from the bottom up, then we don't give our people the opportunity to show their colored excellence.
And you are so right. If you start a business in Avondale and we all support that business, it means you can employ more people from the community.
Exactly.
It means the money is going to stay there. And I think that is the simple concept that we don't understand. But also is the bang. Sy gaan 'n beter karry. Ons gaan sy gaan 'n beter huis hê. It's okay for my as jy 'n beter karry, beter huis het, as long as you create jobs, so that we have less gangsters and more qualified people.
Exactly.
You know. But I want to know from you. You said you had the ladies there, so now you know many of our people don't get away from home. Baie van die mense obviously bly net by die huis. How was the experience? Wat het die aunties gesê? I mean, ek kan nou self dink goed daar. Lucinda kan ons van hy eat, you know, that type of vibe.
So we had a prep before the time. I said, don't go upstairs first to the buffet. Go eat in the restaurant. So there was an auntie they gifted her 200 rand.
Okay.
And she said she wanted a glass of champagne.
Het eintlik is hy so lekker.
And she used the
Wow.
200 rand and she brought,
Nice.
she thought she was going to get a bottle of champagne
Yeah.
and she only got the,
Glas.
because remember it's in dollars.
Yes.
And she just sat there. She
Nice,
didn't
man.
drink the champagne. She just smelled it. She said, I want to feel hoe champagne voel. Ek kan die bubbles in die glas sien. And she left that glass there. From, have you ever, you know, we as children, we love dancing. But as grown-ups, we've become so bang, wie gaat lag.
Yes.
Have you ever seen your oma dance, like die sweet look, dat ek gedink het, Here, hy gaat uitpop. But you had that kind of feeling. You had the feeling of, I can go there and, Lucinda, wat moet ek eet? Ek choose anything. Kan ek alles eet alles, maar ek het die diarrhea politiek daar so. And just my disclaimer, we had one diarrhea, okay? Very severe. Almost so that I had to come home, vlieg terug. But it was that. It was freedom, Stan. Freedom to be free in a space where we didn't care who you were. We didn't care if the plate was stacked. We didn't care if you went 5 times.
Yeah.
And 2 o'clock in the morning you got up and you went upstairs and got a burger and a pizza. And now you can tell me everything about pizza. But for that senior, it was the best time of their lives.
Yes.
It is engraved in their heart. I feel small. I feel humble. And every time when I speak about it, I feel like I want to cry. And I'm not going to cry. I lost my mom 7 years ago. And my father is in an old age home. I wanted to do this for my parents. And so the community parents in my club, they are my alles. They don't come there to, I don't want to hear about jug in pain. So we had a dominoes competition. Last year we had a masquerade ball. We had a sports day. They do outreach. On pension day, they come and make sandwiches and go and distribute sandwiches and soup to the pensioners in the line. So my club is very much, you come to live. How many businesses have contributed to this club?
None.
0.
That's the problem that I have with these businesses.
In 15 years, I ran seniors clubs for 15 years. 0. 0. And I say this with the greatest of respect. Waar is die minister of sports?
Wat die ene? Das 2.
Lord have mercy.
As jy nou praat jy nou van die ene van National, dis ene mos nou van die
Okay, so you see this club, this progressive club op die township. Has anybody come to say, do you want to? Yeah, nothing. And that's the system that we live in. So we have to rise from more than oppression. We have to rise more than patriarchy and fascism. That for an 89-year-old who has never been on a plane or on a boat in her entire life. I mean, 89 years is grace to be given that opportunity. Where is the businesses that invest in airlines like Safair and in MSC to say, you know what, as my CSI, I want to take the seniors from Mitchell's Plain on an outing or on a plane trip. Where is that investment? But the money is circulating amongst those that invest in that kind of business. The money doesn't reach us. And somebody made an analogy the other day and said, prisoners are given more than what GBV shelters are given. But nobody really is speaking about GBV shelters in terms of allocation of funds. Nobody speaks about allocations for senior citizens' homes. So my father's in Douglas Maria home. Last December, they had a shortage of nappies. I went on my page, I asked for nappies. We are still raising nappies for the home because there are orphan seniors there.
Yes.
But how many businesses, if any, and I'm speaking about Douglas Maria, and there's many homes, which said, okay, for 1 month, we'll just buy the meat, or we'll just buy the groceries, or we'll just buy the whatever is needed. And so then we come back to those politicians that we have voted for, and we ask them, so where are you? Budget cuts. So the Western Cape government during elections, we heard, cut budget for safety and security. For whom? At the cost of what? The teachers, the senior citizens' homes, and children. The three most vulnerable groups. And so we come back to patriarchy. We have a system which is upheld, who abuses everyone. It's not just about the male is the head of the house, because we understand how patriarchy affects men. But the three population groups, which is much more marginalized and abused economically, is women, children, and older persons.
Lucinda, ons kan aangaan. There's still so many questions I wanted to ask you about that job we spoke about and about politics. We didn't get there, so I'm going to have an interview again with you. But I want to, there's many people when they saw the poster going up, they messaged me. Tell her she's a strong woman. Tell her we look up to her. They have the messages on my phone. We're so proud of her. And I want you to give that ladies, that gentleman a message, you know. I want you to give them a message from your heart so that you can encourage them and why they should support organizations like yours.
Do you know, Stan, that there is, all of us have been given a gift. Whether you sing, whether you dance, whether you can do mathematics, you all have a gift. You know, the only disadvantage between you and me is don't die with the gift if you haven't discovered your gift. Thank you very much for those beautiful words, but you must keep dreaming. If it's not for you, for your children. If it's not for you, it's for that senior citizen. If it's not for you, it's for the other people that looks at you in the street. The children, the women, the men. What I want to say is, if you don't know what you should know or you don't know, make contact with me. I can help you. I can steer you into or soek a mechanic, by the way, or soek a driver, or soek iemand om in die garden te werk. We can connect you. We need to start networking. We need to start connecting. We need to start building. We have colored excellence. We need you. And the community needs you.
Lucinda, thank you so much. We're going to have to schedule another session because we need to ask the other questions. But thank you so much for coming and all the best. And thank you for what you do. I was literally in tears when I read that story where you took our people on the MSC. That gave me also an idea. I also want to do something for the elderly folks. You know? So you inspire us, but also you keep us accountable to do more. So thank you for being you.
I'm still waiting for the 2 headsoggies because I said to everybody my payment is 2 headsoggies.
Okay.
met rechte apricot jam.
Okay. I will organize. You know what? I'm going to call a friend of mine. I'm going to ask him to bring you jam.
No, just 2 headsoggies.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Lucinda Evans. Guys, please follow her. She does amazing work. If you guys never heard of her, and this is your first time, we can vouch for her. She's been doing this for a long time. And businesses, I know you're watching. Government, I know for a fact you're going to watch this tomorrow because I'm going to get messages, you know, why do you speak about this and that and who does she vote for? So it's good that you're going to message me tomorrow. But I also want you guys to reach out to her, to support the organization. She does work in Steenbok, Levendale, Retreat, all those areas in the southern suburbs. And we need to grow her. If we grow her, we help more people in that area. Thank you so much and God bless. And we'll be back next week again. Cheers.